Hey everybody, welcome to Board Online, Board Offline. Today we're bringing you our top 5 solo games of all time in 5 minutes. Now the last time I did this list, I only did 3 solo games. This was 2 years ago this month, and I wanted to get back to this list and update it a little bit for you because I've played a lot more solo games since that first time. Now, a few months ago, I also did my favorite games of all time, the games I consider to be the best of all time. And so you might think that, well, the top of this list is going to be very similar. Well, there are going to be some similar games there. The order is going to be different. What I did this time when I made this list was I tried to think to myself, okay, yeah, these were my favorite games, but now when it comes to strictly playing these solo, would I prefer to play this game over this game? And so I was looking at it strictly from a solo sense when it comes to the games you're going to see here. So without anything else, we're going to get started, starting the 5 minutes right now. So number 5 on this list is new to the list. This is Kingdom Death Monster. Now this is my favorite game of all time, but due to the sheer amount of bookkeeping in the game, which I still enjoy, I still like it, it just doesn't quite rise to the number 1 compared to these other games in terms of playing strictly solo. Playing multiplayer is a blast, playing solo is a blast, but in Kingdom Death Monster, what you're doing is trying to survive this hellish landscape of just the worst monsters imaginable. You have found a settlement of people. You don't even really know where you come from, and you're trying to build this settlement up and help it survive through 30 lantern years is what it's called. And a lantern year is an indeterminate amount of time, but basically one game of Kingdom Death Monster takes place in 1 lantern year, and then you move on to the next and you go out and hunt these monsters and face these nemesis that show up at your settlement, and it's just a brutal game that is so much fun. Number 4 is Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition, and this was a close one with Kingdom Death and Mansions of Madness. I couldn't quite figure it out. Finally went with Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition as my number 4 here. This is a game that took what was a entry game for me into the hobby, which was Mansions of Madness 1st Edition, and streamlined it, refined it, and gave it an app and turned it into a fully cooperative and therefore solo board game. And the app is so well done. It's probably the best app I've seen. Star Wars Imperial Assault has a really good one as well, but this one is just so clean and so well done, and it really, keeps that tension there as you're going through these various areas trying to solve the mystery. Not even sure what the mystery is exactly. And as you solve them, monsters show up, and there's also townsfolk to talk to, and different mythos events happen, and eventually, if you don't solve the mystery, that app will really crank up the difficulty and kind of push you to get to the end of the game, or else you just end up dying. Number 3 is the 7th Continent. Mansions of Madness, by the way, was number 2 2 years ago. 7th Continent is new to the list. This is a game where the entire world is already preset in terms of the landscape, the geography. Depending on which curse you choose to try to solve, you start at a different location in that world, and then you're exploring out from there, and you have all kinds of events. You locate all kinds of tools and weapons and different things that you can create. You build fires, and you find traps that you try to disarm and run across people occasionally, and a goat is in the game, and it is so much fun to explore. I mean, the truest sense of exploration I've ever felt in a board game is in the 7th Continent, and I have had just a ton of fun playing this one solo as well. And for games so big, the fact that you can stop the game at any time and save the whole thing within 5 minutes and then set it back up within 5 minutes whenever you're ready to play again and keep going is amazing. Number 2 was my number 1 2 years ago. This is Mage Knight. It has fallen. It was just barely beaten out. Mage Knight, though, is probably considered by many to be the ultimate solo game. You are this ultra powerful mage knight that's going through the countryside. Either you're trying to conquer a couple of cities, or you have the expansion. You have this General Volkar who you're going up against as he marches along, and he's trying to conquer cities and you're trying to beat him. and you come across orcs and minotaurs and dragons and all kinds of different monsters that you fight against while you're building your fame, which then helps you increase your the skills that you have, and you recruit various mercenaries and heroes and wizards and golems to fight with you against all your enemies. And that's my number 2, Mage Knight. And finally, my number 1 is Gloom Haven. Brand new to the list, of course, because did not have it 2 years ago. Gloom Haven is amazing. I don't know what else I can say. I don't have any desire to play this game with more than just solo. I don't want to explain the rules to anybody else. I'm perfectly happy playing through this one all by myself. Hopefully I can finish the campaign in time for the expansion that's coming out in a few months. Gloom Haven has like 16 or 17 different classes that are in the game to begin with, but you only start with 6 of them and you unlock the others as you play the game. Has, I think, 96, 98 different scenarios with all these different modular board tiles that you lay out, and you go through and you unlock different missions, you unlock different areas. It has a feel of like the Elder Scrolls on the computer as far as unlocking these different areas, and that is Gloom Haven, my number 1, a truly fantastic solo experience. So there you have it. That is my top 5 and 5 best solo games of all time. I hope you enjoyed this list. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you like my channel, please subscribe. If you want to support the channel, look in the description below. There's various ways. There's links to purchase these games where I get a little bit of the proceeds. You can buy these t-shirts, all kinds of different colors from geekygoodies.com, and there's a couple other ways down there as well. So until next time, if you're bored online, board offline.